Hey yo, Michigan Cryptid, back with another email from our friend C. Y'all ready? Hello there, Michigan Cryptid. I've got another one for you. My previous two encounters I have sent were definitely hair raising for me. The encounter I'm going to share now is what changed everything for me, but it was delayed by over 10 years, and I will explain why that is. Now, back in '07, '08, midsummer, I was living at home still at my mom's. For a little background, at the time I was dating Satan's firstborn daughter and had a Rottweiler that I raised from 8 weeks old that weighed about 110 or 115 pounds. One of those gentle giants that didn't realize he wasn't a lapdog. Well, my wonderful ex decided he wasn't allowed to sleep in the bed with me anymore. It turns out that wasn't the only thing we disagreed on, but that's not what we're here for. So this particular night, we're laying down with a window open and nowhere near sleeping yet. My dog was sleeping on the landing as usual. My bed was right next to the window, and outside my window was the roof that was over our porch. Out of nowhere rings the loudest, long, deep, guttural howl I've ever heard. This howl lasted 7 to 10 seconds and was so loud I thought it was something on the roof outside my window. Immediately I jumped up and looked out the window and saw nothing. At the same time, my dog comes running in with every hair on his back standing up. As soon as I got out of my bed, he started running up and down the stairs, hitting the front door with his nose, which is how he lets us know he needed to go outside. Now, during all this, my mom comes to the bottom of the stairs and asks me what is going on. And I asked if she heard the howl. She told me she did, and she thought it was right outside my window. She told me she thought it was my dog in the backyard. I told her he's never howled in his life. And she said, well, that whatever it was in the backyard, because she was doing dishes and heard it on that side of the house. Her room was across from mine, upstairs. So I walked into her room to look in the backyard, and I saw nothing. All this time, my dog is still running up and down the stairs and staring at me, basically telling me to let him outside. Mind you, this dog had camped with me many nights up in northern Michigan and slept either on me or in my hammock or under my hammock, and multiple times chased off who knows what in the middle of the night, and had faced down and killed many raccoons and porcupine and other such critters. Needless to say, there wasn't much he feared. After looking out my mom's window and seeing nothing, I walked downstairs, pushed my dog out of the way to not let him outside, and walked out on the porch. At the time, we lived about 100 yards outside of the city limits and could see the city limit sign from the porch. Closer to the house, at 50 yards from my porch, was a street light. At this time, it was one of those old garage lights that hummed way too loud. Man, I remember those. Well, I look to my right and I see nothing. Then I look to my left towards the street light and see something. Now I say something because my brain just wasn't making sense of everything. I watched this animal walk across a two-lane city street. While crossing the first lane, my brain initially told me I was looking at a deer. But by the time it hit the middle of the street and was fully under the light, I knew it just wasn't right. Now, from the side profile I was initially looking at, I could tell the snout was too long and too pointed to be a deer. So at this point, I'm just confused and looking at this thing, trying to figure it out. So I don't remember exactly what I did, if I whistled or just yelled, hey, but I did something to get its attention. This is where it all became surreal. If you're a hunter, you know when you spook a deer, their first reaction is that little pounce type stance, ready to spring their feet and run away, right? Not this thing. It was walking at a very nonchalant pace without a care in the world, and when I got its attention, it never broke stride. Turned its head to look directly at me without a care in the world. When it turned its head, I got the full profile of the head, and what stuck out the most was the ears. I wouldn't call them oversized, but they were big and very pointed like a Doberman's ears, way too sharp to be like a deer. It looked at me and locked eyes with me while still walking and took a few steps and then just turned back forward and continued walking. Between some houses, I stood there both confused and shocked. I truly didn't know what I had just seen. When I went back inside, my mom asked what it was. I said, I truly don't know. It was something. As for a full description, this thing was walking on all fours and as big or a little bit bigger than a deer. Color was hard to tell because of the light it was under being orange. I would say brownish color, but again, with that light, it's hard to say. The eyes were lit up, but I couldn't tell you if it was self illuminated or just reflecting the light. Unfortunately, I was so focused on the snout and head that I either did not look or don't remember anything about the feet, and if it did or didn't have a tail. So after this, I kind of just more or less forgot about the whole situation. I just chalked it up to seeing something weird. That being said, this point I'd never heard the term Dogman. I obviously knew what Bigfoot was and had seen plenty of werewolf movies, but never heard the term Dogman. Now, fast forward to the scamdemic of 2020. Like most people, I had some extra time on my hands. And while doing yard work, I'll just put in my earbuds and throw on YouTube and just let it play. For some reason, a video came up of an encounter with a dog man. As I'm listening, I got very intrigued and listened closer. When that video was over, I went to the next one and on this channel and continued that. One day, listening to an interview, the person stated that she was watching something walk across her yard. Thought it was a deer until it stood up on its hind legs and ran away. It was at that moment I felt like I got punched in the gut. This whole experience came flooding back to me, and it clicked what I saw. It all added up between the howl and the ears and the snout. The more I listened, the more stuff fell into place, making sense. The direction it was headed used to be railroad tracks, but is now a paved walking path, which is supposed to be common travel corridors for them to stay in cover. From then on, I jumped feet first down this rabbit hole of cryptids and have tried to learn as much as I can. From the descriptions I've heard, the pictures I've seen of Dogman, I believe wholeheartedly that is exactly what I saw. I've hunted deer since I was old enough to hold a rifle, and like anyone in the state of Michigan, I've seen many thousands of deer and have spent countless hours in tree stands watching deer coming and going and how they act and behave both naturally and when spooked. Needless to say, I would never misidentify a deer at 50 yards. I know this one got long-winded, but I wanted the full details to be there. Now, believe it or not, this was not my most fearful encounter. My last one I've had is what takes the cake for me. I'll get that typed up when I can for you, Michigan Cryptids. Thank you for doing what you're doing and trying to make a change in this world. Wowzers, man. What an encounter. What an encounter. And every time I read one of these, you guys, my wheels get grinding so hard, I just sit here and get lost in it. I apologize. Thanks, C. Appreciate you. Now, he can't be the only one out there with some encounters, you guys. We're going to keep the wheels rolling on this deal, man. I need some more of you to step up. Ain't nobody here going to tease you, man. We know what's up. Email us your encounters. MichiganCryptid@gmail.com. God is good, man. Thanks, everybody. Bye.